Welcome to Speedy Walkthroughs, where we show just the important stuff to beating the game. For first time viewers, this will look different to a normal walkthrough. It will show just the essentials so you don't need to spend a long time watching this video. Today we're playing Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon, and we're going to be getting the best completion, which is 117%. That means getting all the eggs, all the gems, and getting the best ending. I'll be walking through and showing you where all that stuff is. Just before we get stuck into it, if you do end up enjoying this, then please consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel a lot, and I'm hoping to continue making more videos like this. Test. So when you start the game, you'll see a few cutscenes, and then you'll be launched straight into this hub world. So this is our first hub world, and there's going to be 4 hub worlds all up. And within this hub world, there's going to be a whole bunch of different levels. So you can see that I'm going around collecting gems, and I will be collecting that egg over there. And gems and eggs are going to be our main collectibles here. So there's 150 eggs in the whole game, and there's 20,000 gems in the whole game. So pretty much you want to be grabbing every single thing you see. Now, I'm not going to be showing where every single gem is, because we would be here all day, but I will point out some very tricky ones along the way. One of the tricky ones that's pretty easy to miss is that green gem there, right behind the Sunny Villa portal. Make sure you grab that one. Now, with the gems, you are going to be missing some throughout the game just because there's so many, and some of them can be in pretty tricky places. Don't freak out too much if you do miss some. Eventually, you're going to get an ability with Sparks the Dragonfly, where you can hold down the L1, L2, R1, and R2 button and get the Dragonfly to point at any missing gems. Now, we don't have that ability yet, so you'll be pretty much stuck if you got missing gems now, but just hold off and wait until you get closer to the end of the game, and then you can come back and clean up any gems that you've missed. And it'll be a lot easier to find them having the Dragonfly actually point out where they are to you. Now, the other thing we should talk about with this game is controls. So they got pretty standard controls. You can run and you can jump with the X button. You can rotate the camera around with the L1 and R1 buttons. You can dash with the square button, and you can flame with the circle button. Now, some enemies will only be able to be killed using dash, and some with flame, as well as some containers, for example. So you want to be using all of these abilities that you have to the best that you can. And we have little power-up things like this flying one. So if you jump and glide while you've got this power-up, you can actually just fly through the air like this. Whenever you get to the end of a glide or something, you can also press the triangle button, and that will allow you to get a bit more extra height. We'll see it here. We did a glide across. I didn't need the triangle button for that glide, but if I did, I could just press the triangle button at the end. Now we're going into Cloud Spires, which most people would normally do as level 2. Now, the reason I didn't go straight into Sunny Villa right away is because you actually need the kangaroo to get all the eggs in Sunny Villa. So I'm going to unlock the kangaroo before I go into Sunny Villa. So I'd recommend this same level order that I'm doing. We'll make our way through the level. You can eventually talk to these people and get these platforms to move up and down. So within each level, you're going to find a whole bunch of gems and a whole bunch of eggs. If you ever want, you can press the select button to open up the atlas, and that will tell you how many you still need. As long as you follow it through very carefully and check every nook and cranny of the level, you shouldn't miss too many gems. As far as I can tell with this game, there aren't too many really cryptic ones that you can't find, and any that there are, I will point out as we go. Those pots there are an example of ones that you can't flame. So this whole level is teaching you about the different abilities that Spyro has. If you see any enemies with like a metal shield or something, you're not going to have much luck flaming those, so you'll want to charge into them instead. And as a general rule, you want to charge around the level because it is a little bit quicker to move around like that as well. Alright, we'll continue to move around getting gems. We're also going to see money bags for the first time soon. Money bags, you have to pay him money to do various different things. So if you pay him money here, you're going to be able to start the platforms. Essentially, you just always want to hit yes to money bags. You need to buy all of his things to beat the game. And every time you see him, you should hopefully have enough gems at that point to buy whatever he's trying to sell you. As a general rule, I would try to 100% all the levels as you go, and that'll save you doing backtracking and coming back and everything. It'll also make sure you have enough gems and eggs to do whatever you need to do throughout the game. In terms of progressing through the game, there is like a key egg that you need in each level, and that's going to be the main character gives it to you, for example, this one here. So to get through to the next area of the game, we do need all these special eggs from each level, but it's good to collect all the eggs that you can, because you'll need a certain amount of eggs to open each new level. Now that we've got the egg for this level, we can go into the secret areas, So there'll be sort of a secret area through this door here and then another one up. With this secret area, we're going to be flaming this guy and getting him into the center area, and that will start the sun shining. You're going to flame all 3 of these. I will skip through some of these sections because all we're really doing in these rooms is grabbing gems and eggs and flaming the sun things into the container there. And eventually, once you've got all 3 flames in, they're going to have this cutscene and you're going to get the egg for this area. Once you've done that, you can just leave the area. Okay, so we've left the area and we're going to come up into this section here. That'll take us to this little flying minigame. So there are various gems on the ground, but what you need to do here is just fly around and flame all the spirits in these bell sections. There we go. What we'll do for the rest of this area is just go and clean up the rest of those gems. There are a couple gems up the top and then some around. We'll also see this guy who has the egg here. With those blue things that you need to chase, generally the best strategy is to charge until you're quite close to them and then flame them once you're close enough. So some of them are so fast that you won't ever be able to catch them with a charge, and that's where using the flame comes in handy. If you do want to flame while you're charging a Spyro, you do have to let go of the charge button. So it's a little bit to get used to, but you basically want to let go of square really quickly and then press circle right away. Now we've done the 2 secret areas, but we do need to fly over here and do the rest of the level. You'll find that once you beat most levels, you'll unlock secret little areas here and there. So this is backtracking through some of the level that we've already done here. But now this bit's open and we can fly up here. So it's always good to check back on areas you've done for anything that opens up, particularly as you've done the main bulk of the level here. And you can see there's this whole rooftop section that we still have left to do. There we go, we get a lovely egg there. Okay, so once you collected everything, it does say 6 out of 6. Now, I almost collected all the gems, except I did miss these 2 in the sun area when I did this playthrough. So if you're missing some, it could very well be that gem right there. Once you've got all the gems and everything you need, you can exit the portal in the level, but what's probably quicker is if you pause the game and just exit through there. Now that's Cloud Spires all completed. That's our first level done with the game. So we're going to talk to Moneybags here, and he's going to give us the kangaroo. So the kangaroo will have their own level, and then we'll be able to use the kangaroo in every other level from now on. So now that we've unlocked Sheila the kangaroo, we can go into that level, and we'll actually be playing as Sheila in the level. So the controls with Sheila are you can do a double jump just by jumping and then jumping again in the air, or you can actually do a high jump by jumping, landing on the ground, and then jumping again as soon as you land. Now that high jump is going to be crucial for getting through some sections. You can also kick enemies just by hitting the square button there, and the last thing that you have is a ground pound by jumping and pressing triangle. So we're going to do that high jump to get up here. If you didn't have the high jump ability, we wouldn't be able to make that same height. And you want to talk to each goat as you go through, and you'll get various eggs along the way. Now you can see there's already a section we've missed over here, so you can high jump up to that and ground pound it to get all the gems. The good thing about Spyro 3 is there is fairly minimal backtracking, so you do have to come back to each level with various animal transformations, but most levels when you walk into them you should be able to beat. Some easy gems to miss, there is this one up here where you have to go and break these rocks and then ground pound these. Make sure you actually do break all the rocks because there were gems inside of those. And this level's got some pretty easy ones to miss really. There's also this other little cave up here which has some more gems in it too. And we're going to talk to our next mountain goat person. And with this section here, you want to ground pound all the houses. So those enemies will keep spawning if you haven't destroyed their houses. So get rid of the houses first, then go and get rid of all the enemies. One thing that you can do if you're really wanting to stay on track with gems is to make sure your number matches the number of gems that I have in the video. And as long as you're 100%ing all the levels as you go, they should match pretty well. Again, we're just going to clean up the gems in this section and high jump up to any areas we need. Right, once we talk to this guy, we're going to get the last egg here, but that's not the whole level done, because we got to high jump up to this cave behind the portal there. This cave can be pretty easy to miss here, but in here is the last of the gems for the level. Alright, now we got 400 out of 400 gems, so we can exit the level now. Okay, with Sheila's level done, we're actually going to go back to the first level here, Sunny Villa, and we'll need Sheila within this level. That's why I've waited until now to do it. We'll go through and collect all of our gems. Make sure you do kill the enemies, because the enemies have gems in them too. Alright, now there's a section on top of that waterfall there that we're going to need to glide across to. So we will kill all these rhinos here. And then eventually, once we get high enough, we'll make that glide across. We're not quite high enough yet, though. And with those big rhinos, you're going to have to flame them rather than charge them. Anything big, you're not going to have too much luck with a charge, so just use that flame there to beat them. Grabbing this egg, we're now going to start sort of climbing up through the rest of this level. There are some gems over here that you'll want to get. And then you want to climb up the central tower. So up the central tower, there's sort of like two main things to do. One is to glide over to that waterfall section I talked about before, and the other is to glide to the Sheila section. Now, if you did happen to do this level first, you can just come back and do Sheila later. You can still do all this other stuff that I'm doing now without Sheila. Alright, grabbing an egg now, and then we're going to head back to that central tower again. Alright, coming up this central tower, rather than gliding straight forward, we are going to glide to the left and go into this Sheila area. Alrighty, so now that we're in here, we're just going to go and clean up gems. There aren't too many things that you can miss. Maybe the gems on this platform at the start you might miss, and the gems around the corner here. You don't have to jump over the wall like I did. You can sort of just walk around the wall to get it, but do make sure you get these ones in here. And make sure that you're killing any enemies that you come across, because most enemies will have gems inside. Now there is a secret room sort of left and up of where I was just then, but we're going to do that towards the end of this section here. We'll come out of this bit and we'll start climbing the big tower in this section here. So this tower, you want to just grab all the gems along the way and keep climbing. Alright, after enough climbing, you're going to get towards the top of this tower. Yeah, just keep going around more and more until you get to the top. We'll get a lovely egg once we're up here. So with this tower done, we'll just grab the gems on the top, and then there's one more little bit we need to do in this section, and that's going into the secret area. So it's sort of down here, and you can see the door to it just there. We're going to jump up and go through to here. Once you got the gems in here with Sheila, you just want to exit out. Alright, after exiting this area, we're just going to head through this door to this area we haven't been into yet. This section's fairly linear, so I'll skip over most of it. Then we're going to come through and see this cutscene here where this dude's being chased. Essentially, for that dude being chased, you want to flame the dude that's chasing him. So you get to these chasing people here, and then you just sort of like flame that dude who was chasing him. And he'll be very thankful. So we've sort of done a big loop on the level. We're coming around here, and these gates are going to open up in a sec, and then we're back to where we've sort of started in the level. So we got pretty much everything we need to, except for the skating minigame, which will be in the door coming through here. So don't go through that portal there. You want to go up through here and go through the door. You can normally tell what the level exit portal is, because it'll sort of have a sky texture on the inside. So if you're ever not sure what door to go into the sort of space themed doors rather than the sky texture doors, because you want to get everything done in the level before you finish up. All right, now this is the skateboarding minigame. So essentially you just want to go around and grab some gems, but the main thing to do is to get all these red little enemy things. You got to get 15 of them. So there'll be one section where you're getting 15 of these, and there's not really a time limit or any challenge or anything. And then there'll be another section where you like can't fall off your skateboard and you got a time limit. If you don't get all the gems while you're skating around, you can just go and get the gems later. So there's not really a whole lot I can say about this. I will be skipping over the majority of this section. So after you got one egg from the skateboarding section, you'll come into this next bit, which has 15 of these again to get. And then if you do that under the time limit, you'll have that egg there. And once you got all the eggs and gems from this section, you should be done with the whole level there. So we're just going to exit out. With getting those red things, you just want to check up like all the ramps and everything. You will find them all. Alright, so back into the main hub area. We've now sort of done everything we can with this section. So we're going to head through this path here to the next section across. Just grabbing all the gems on the way as we go. Okay, so that portal will open up for us because we have enough. We're also going to break the rock here to get a little egg inside. So you just got to ground pound that one to do it. That egg is pretty easy to miss, actually. Alright, so we're going to go into this level. This is a level that we cannot 100% on the first visit. It has a little portal for Sergeant Bird, and we don't unlock Sergeant Bird until the next section of the game. So no matter how hard you try, you can't 100% this level on the first visit because we don't have that character. You do actually need to do this level to unlock the next section of the game as well. So we're pretty much stuck doing this not 100%. There is a little glitch you can do to 100% it, which I'll talk about as we get closer to that. Just going to zoom around this section here. Easiest part to miss is just the lower down platforms with the egg here and Ricky. But as long as you get that egg, you shouldn't miss too much here. Right, we're then going to keep heading through this cave. And we'll just explore all the way around through this area. Lots of little platforms in and about through the lava, so you want to grab those. You'll notice we also grabbed a key there. That key is going to be used to open a chest near the start of the level. And that chest has a bunch of gems and goodies in it. So once you think you've explored enough around the bottom here, we're going to go towards the central area and just get our egg for the level there. Okay, so there's our egg. We got that. Now you'll notice that we can't actually go into Sergeant Bird's section. That's that little cage there that's locked off. Now, if you jump up on the spokes on the bridge, like those two bridge little handle spoke platform things, you can actually glide onto the top of Sergeant Bird's cage, and the portal to the level extends high enough that you can go in there. So if you don't mind using a glitch to do your playthrough, you can use that glitch and go in, and you'll just get to use Sergeant Bird even though we haven't unlocked him. So that's one way that you can do this game and avoid having to backtrack to this level. I decided not to use glitches in this playthrough for the purposes of walking you through how it's meant to be done. But that's a pretty useful one, especially if you've played the game before and want to play through it again a little bit faster next time. We talked to Moneybags and opened up the door to that next area, so we're just going to check out what's in there now. So in here is sort of like a little racetracky kind of thing, and you got this guy that you've got to chase for eggs. So when you're chasing this guy, the main piece of advice I'll give again is you want to flame him towards the end. So you dash as close as you can get to him. And then once you think you're close enough, you let go of square and hit circle very quickly. That should flame him. Of course, if you go in to do one of those flames and you're not close enough, you're going to lose a bunch of speed and then have to catch up again. So it is a bit of a trade-off. So that's one of the eggs that you get there. And then another guy runs off. And this time the actual platform is sort of turbocharged that you're chasing him on. So if you dash on this platform, you're going to go a lot faster. And then the other benefit is if we dash and come off into that jar there, we're going to be able to break it with our fast dash. So to break that jar, you do need the fast dash. So you got to dash sort of off the platform and bring that speed across to here. And we'll just go around cleaning up various gems in this area as well. You can see there's a breakable wall just there, which we can just break with a normal dash. That's just got like a little extra life in there. And that's going to be all the gems that we can get here. And since we went back to the start of the level and unlocked the chest, that's everything we can get so far. So you won't have 100% for this level, but you should be fairly close and be on a similar gem count to what I'm on. Now Hunter's going to teach us how to swim. You just press the square button and sort of swim around. The swimming physics are pretty good in this game, so you should be able to get used to them fairly quickly. You can see now we've got all the eggs, so I'm just going to go around and clean up gems. There's one more sort of main level that we need to do, and then there's another type of level which is like one of the speedway racing levels. So we're going to do both those soon. Alright, with all the gems underwater, we're just going to clean up these ones here. This little balloon is how you get to the next sort of hub world in the game, but we're going to need to do the water level before that balloon's unlocked for us. So you can see there's a whole bunch of characters at the balloon, so each level you do, you unlock like one character and they help you go across to the next section of the game. Alright, so we're in Seashell's Shore, but just before we do that, we're going to go up here. Alright, so you know we've done well when we get all 400 gems, and we're just going to head into this level now. So this level here has quite a lot of swimming. Just make sure you're killing enemies as we go and getting all the jars. I will skip through the majority of this section here because it's pretty straightforward with what you're doing. You're just swimming around grabbing gems. Alright, now we got the gems, we're going to head out here. Just make sure you've got like the white shells underwater. Those can be pretty easy to miss as well. And those white shells also appear on land there as well. One thing I will stress again, don't forget that you will unlock the ability for Sparks to point out any missing gems you have. And that's really useful for just cleaning up and 100%ing the rest of the game. So don't freak out too much if you're like a few gems short on a level, because you can come back to it once we got that ability and point out all the gems. Make sure you don't miss getting these gems underwater here. They'd be pretty easy to miss. Then we're just going to jump up on this bridge and head across to the next section. These guys throwing barrels, you do want to flame them. Anything big, you tend to flame rather than charge. Alright, we'll head through here. We have another Sheila section that we need to be doing here. So with the Sheila section, we're going to be taking down sort of this sandcastle full of enemies. It can be pretty tricky to do it in time, but with enough practice you'll get it. With these cannons, you can just ground pound them to break them. So you can see there, kicking it does not work, but ground pounding does. So that's going to be our main tool for this section here. Get a little cutscene with these guys, and you want to sort of go next to the cannons and ground pound them where possible. And there we go. So that's all done, and we should get a lovely egg for that. Now, there are a few secret gems in Sheila, so I will point them out. So we'll get this egg and clean up the rest, and I'll point out those secret gems. So you want to sort of head back along the path once you got all these ones. And then there's another cave which is fairly high up. So that cave is sort of up and to the right here. There's another egg in there and then a bit to ground pound. Alrighty, so you can pause exit out of this area, or you can just walk to the portal there. Either way is fine. And we're going to continue through. Alright, so that's sort of the main egg for this section. Opening up that door, although we've still got a little bit to clean up here. So there's a few gems here leading into this main hub area. So that was back where we started the level. And just make sure you're killing all those white shells to get the gems inside. Alright, so this section here, you get an egg for going through the turbo tunnel kind of thing. Keep an eye on what enemies are appearing and where for me. You want to charge all the Rhinoc ones, but avoid all the landmines. This is actually a pretty tricky egg to get. But with enough practice, you should be able to get to the end of the tunnel and get the egg. Alright, so we'll head out of this area now. And then we're going to go back up this section. There are a couple gems here. And then we're going to make our way into this bit, which is an arena where you sort of fight this boss thing. You end up going into a boat, and in that boat you can sort of shoot out of the boat. And then we need to fight this guy. So if you hit a box, you get more ammo. So basically just keep hitting the boxes and turn around to shoot him. Alright, once you beat him, you will get an egg for it. Just be sure once you have this egg to go back to the boss arena without the boat. Because there's a lot of gems sort of in and around the water and stuff that you can miss. And you're able to go back here just as normal Spyro anyway to clean those up. Okay, we'll jump over the wall there and then we'll get all the gems in the shark arena. I think these ones would be pretty easy to miss because it's easy enough to just do this section with the boat and assume you got all the gems. Especially these ones around the edge of the arena, you want to make sure you get these. And with all those gems, we'll just exit out the area, and we'll head back down. So we should be almost done this level now. We just got a bit to clean up here. So if you jump up these stairs and then turn around, you should be able to glide into this section where there are some gems waiting for you. That'll be all 400, and now we're done with this level. So all that's really left to do in Sunrise Spring is do that speedway level. But we can beat the boss here on the balloon if we want to. So I'm going to turn around and do the speedway level. So we haven't 100%ed this hub, but we've got pretty close. All that we have to do left is do that level with Sergeant Bird, and there's also a secret Sparks level, which we can't do yet. For whatever reason, you have to beat the boss before you do the Sparks level, and that sort of forces you to backtrack regardless. So we're going to do the speedway here, and there's sort of two little challenges. We've got the sort of the time trial where you're grabbing all this stuff, and then we've got the actual race itself. So the time trial is where you get all the gems from. You can see that I'm just getting gems gradually as I'm doing this, and it would be pretty hard to actually miss any gems. And then you've got the race coming up after this. So we'll just beat the butterflies, and then we'll move on to the race. Alright, you should get a message for 400 gems, completed that, and then we'll get an egg. Next thing we need to select is the race. Now with the race, you do have to go through all the rings, and if you see the little star things, they will speed you up. So you want to hit all the stars that you possibly can. I'll generally show you about a lap of these races just so you can see the sort of path that I'm taking. They're definitely not easy to do, but with enough practice you get used to where all the star boosts are and everything. So make sure you're hitting all those stars, because you do actually have to come first, and it can be pretty tricky to make it into first sometimes. Alright, so that's about one lap, and the rest follow the same sort of pattern there. Okay, so with the race completed, we're going to get another egg. And you might be surprised to find out there is actually a third egg in this level, which is pretty well hidden. So with the case with all racing levels, you want to find Hunter. So we're going to go into time trial mode again, and we're going to just fly around here. And you want to basically follow the path that I'm taking. until you get to this mushroom. Now you can see he's sort of just hanging out there, and he's got like this little UFO minigame kind of thing. Alright, so you just take down all those enemies, and then you should be done. You just fly around with him and do it. There's not a whole lot to it apart from just hitting them all. Alright, and he'll give you an egg, and that will actually be us done for this speedway level. So once you've done that, you can pretty much just exit out the level from this menu, and then we're going to actually go and beat the boss from Sunrise Springs, which will be good. Okay, so you just glide over to the balloon here, and that brings us to the boss arena. There we go. We're going to travel to Midday Gardens. And now we're in the boss arena here. So Sheila will actually help you out when beating the boss. You essentially just want to hit it over into the lava. Now if you hit it into the lava enough times, you'll beat it, so I won't go through the whole fight here. Alright, we're going to get the egg for this boss, and then we'll warp off to the next hub world. Alright, in this hub world, we're going to get a little cutscene when we come in. Essentially what I'm going to do is get Sergeant Bird, and then take Sergeant Bird back to World 1. So the little path that I'm taking when I play through this game is trying to 100% as much as possible, as early as possible. So that means that we're going to do all of our backtracking sort of as we go, and we're going to head back to World 1 soon. I will just be cleaning up a few gems here and there before we go and grab Sergeant Bird though. Alright, so up this step. And Hunter wants to teach us how to shoot. Basically, you just walk next to the ball to suck it in, and then press triangle to go into shooting mode, and then you can just hit the target from the top there. That level that we just opened like that does require some shooting of enemies, so that's why they're teaching you that skill there. We're going to grab this egg, and then we'll head into Sergeant Bird's area. So you're going to pay Moneybags some money to release him. If you pay that, though, you'll get Sergeant Bird's level. And basically, I'm just unlocking him so that we can use him back in World 1. Alrighty, so I went into the actual level itself, and we're going to clean this level out. So, get all the gems that you can, essentially. The level's pretty linear, so there's not a whole lot to it, really. Pretty much what you can do with Sergeant Bird, you can fly with the jump button, you can fly as high as you want, or you can shoot with the square button. And eventually we'll get to the situation where we're picking up sort of landmines to drop, and you'll be able to drop those on top of whatever target you want to drop. So you'll see that there are some containers or some like cracks in the floor and stuff that we can't break yet, and that's where you'll be using those landmines. So for example, that big one in the middle there, we wouldn't be able to break just with our standard attack, so we'll come back to that one. Alright, so we can see that we can pick up this weight, for example. That's one of the things that we can sort of just do. You want to put the weights on the little weight platforms over there. So there's 2 platforms and 2 weights that you need to get. As you're going through, you want to release all those birds as well, because as you can see, we want to release 5 out of 5 by the time we get to the end of the level. So we'll just get that other weight and put it on the platform over here. Just going to go through the door to the next area and start cleaning this one out for gems as well. Just be aware that you do want to fly up, because there are some of these balloons which are pretty easy to miss. So make sure you're looking all around the level if you're missing stuff. Now we've actually got those things we can drop, so we're going to fly all the way back towards the start of the level where that container was before that we couldn't break. So you just fly through here, and you can see that it's in this section. If you drop it there, it opens up a hole in the floor for you. Now we're just going to head down. There's a couple of useful things in here. It's definitely worth exploring this section. Once you've done all that, we're just going to head back out and continue on with where we were from the level. So we're just going to head all the way back to where we found these bombs to drop before. And we'll keep going through. Again, make sure you're killing all the enemies, because enemies can have gems inside. So you pretty much want nothing to be left once you're done with the level. We'll go through and clean up this section. Just be aware that if you come across any of those big containers that you can't break, you'll just want to grab the bombs from before and drop them on those containers. There's plenty of bombs around, so you can always find something. Don't forget to visit this section up here. There are a lot of places that are pretty easy to miss, like these balloons or the actual roof of the building itself. Once you break all the balloons up in the air, make sure you do come back down onto the ground to collect all the gems that come out of the balloons. They can be pretty easy to miss. In fact, a strategy for cleaning out Spyro levels is work top to bottom, especially with Sergeant Bird. And that way anything that falls down you'll get towards the end. There's also this sort of lava river section, so make sure you go through this little cave here. Alright, coming through the cave, we're going to find another one of these bird things and some more gems. And we should be mostly cleaned out the level here. Although I believe in this playthrough I did miss a couple gems, so we're just going to head back and grab those. And you can see how easy it is to miss a gem. Even one little one like that in the corner can throw you off. But remember, if you do miss any, we will have that ability later where sparks can point to a gem. Alright, so coming out of Sergeant Bird's area, we're going to sort of go back into World 1. So you just jump on this little balloon here and head back. So there's two more things we can do. We can do Sparks' level. Now that'll be open since we've beaten the boss for this area. And then we can also do the Sergeant Bird area that we missed before. So if you talk to this sign here, you'll just go into Sparks' level. These are always very useful to do. And Sparks has various different controls. So you can dash with square, shoot with circle, and you can sort of hold yourself in place with L1 and R1. So holding yourself in place is really useful because you can sort of like strafe across and not change your angle as you're moving. So you just got to sort of like dash and catch that enemy. So this is sort of teaching you to strafe. You can hold L1 and R1 and make your way up and down through this section. There we go. And we're going to head back up through this door. Sparks is also teaching you that you can eat power-ups. So if you eat that power-up there, then you can press the X button to just shoot your special attack, which can be pretty powerful. Just be aware that it is limited. So you will run out of special attacks, so use it wisely. Now these Sparks levels are pretty linear. The only thing weird that happens is sometimes you grab a key and you have to like go through and open several doors and stuff. You can see that I got the red key there, and the keys are roughly color-coded to doors. You'll also see in these levels a lot of dispensers, so there's scorpions that are coming out of those boxes. You want to beat the boxes first, so that they stop dispensing more enemies. Now we got the green key, we can open up the green door. And just be sure that you're grabbing all the gems as you go through. Through the yellow door now. And sometimes the boxes are protected by that little glow. To get rid of that glow, you want to hit a switch on the floor, just like I did there. So we got the blue key now, we'll just head through the blue door. And we're going to head back into that center area. That box was protected before, so we're just going back and beating that box. And we're going to head back up through here. Now this is sort of like the boss for the area, so you might want to save your special power-ups for a boss like this. But I'm just going to strafe and hit it with normal bullets. There we go, we got all the gems. And we should be able to get an egg from this boss here. So you tend to unlock power-ups for sparks as you do more and more of these levels, so it's good to do them as early as you can. So that's why we're doing this now, and we'll also come back and clean up that molten crater level that we couldn't beat before. So now that we've done this, you just want to head across to this level that we couldn't do before, and we'll head straight up into Sergeant Bird's area once we're in here. Alright, so that gate should be open for us. You just head through and up these steps, and across. You'll notice this is open now. So you could have done this before if you did that glitch to get in, but now we've got Sergeant Bird anyway, so we can do it properly. So with this section, he wants various ticky head things onto the statues, so that's exactly what we're going to do. And you might notice that some of the walls look like they have cracks in them, so there are like secret walls that you can break in this level. So that wall there is a perfect example. We're just going to break through that and grab this egg. Apart from that, everything should be pretty self-explanatory in this level, so I'll skip through the next little bit. Alright, so once you've returned all the heads to the statues, you'll get this egg here. And I was still missing a few gems when I did this, but they were up in that balloon there. You can see how easy it is to miss those balloon gems, especially with Sergeant Bird. Now that we got all the gems in this level, we can just head back out and head back to Midday Gardens, which was what we were trying to do before. So that is now actually the first hub world 100% completed. And if you want to ever check, you can check through like the Atlas thing. You will eventually get the ability to warp to different levels straight away, although you don't get that till basically the end of the game, so you don't want to rely on that too early. So now we're going to go and clear out this hub world. We'll do level by level as we go, and make sure you get the gems underwater here. And with the gems collected here, we're going to head into this ice level. So this level has a lot of cannons. Main thing to remember is that the birds do have gems in them. So whenever you get to one of these cannons, try and shoot as many of the birds as you can in the area, and the gem should fly straight to you as you go. Pretty easy to miss. This level can be pretty tricky for missing gems as well. There are a few ones that are pretty well hidden. Okay, so here we go. With the TNTs on the ice, you basically can hit the TNTs and they'll slide off. Just try not to be in the range when they actually explode, otherwise you'll take some damage. And if you take too many damage, you'll lose sparks and you'll stop actually grabbing gems from a distance, which is really awkward. Cool, so we'll break that glass there, and we're going to move on to our next section. TNT boxes do have gems in them as well, so make sure you're breaking all them. And we'll go through here. Now this section's a bit odd because it's got the ice which you can break. So normally what you're supposed to do is to actually come in from above and ground pound through the ice. Although in this playthrough I was actually able to make it just by gliding in from the side and ground pounding. We won't see that quite yet, but we will see it in a sec. Alright, so here we go. I was able to just do a little ground pound there. Although if you're not able to make that jump, you can, you'll get to come through from the top later on in the level. So you can sort of ground pound from higher up and get a bit more precise with it. But these gems under the ice are probably the easiest ones to miss in this level because it's not super obvious you can ground pound through this little icy bit here. Anytime you see one of those rockets, you want to flame it because that'll fire off and get some more gems for you. We then have another cannon here, so just remember all the birds do have gems in them, so make sure you're hitting all the birds as much as possible, as well as these walls and ice things and everything. One easy one to miss would be that container, so make sure you hit that and get the gems out there as well. Alright, coming through this next section, there's a couple different paths. You can go forward or right. So basically we want to go right first because that's your closed end, and then we'll go forward again to get through the rest of the level. There we go. Alright, we can go on this little updrafty thing here and ground pound this, and we'll make our way back. Now, I didn't talk to Moneybags here, but you can talk to him and go to that sub area if you want at this point. But you don't want to ride that cable car down. You just want to go into this cannon and break the ice over here. So this will sort of loop us around into that bit that I was talking about before, where you can ground pound the ice from above. But we're just going to not go there quite yet. We're going to go into the sub area here first. So steps are pretty easy to miss gems on because Sparks isn't super responsive on them. So just be sure that you grab all the gems on those steps there. So with this sub area, basically we need to just flame this dude. It's pretty hard to line up, but make sure you're really close and then you let go of square and hit circle to flame him. So that's an egg there, and then another one is going to start running away. You've also got this little side bit here where you can use the boost speed to break the container. And we're going to have to chase this red one now. So these chasey ones do ramp up in difficulty quite a bit, actually. There we go. Alright, so I'm exiting the area here. Turns out that I did miss a couple gems when I did this playthrough here, but I'll come back and grab those later. So now I'm going to go talk to Moneybags, and he's going to open up this section here. Now this little minigame is ice skating. Essentially what you got to do is just defeat all the Rhinox as they're coming towards her. Not a whole lot here that can go wrong. Okay, so with that egg that we've got there, we're going to leave this section. And we're going to head back to this cannon that we just shot from and go up here. Now this is a bit where you can glide out across the ice and break it if you want. But if not, just keep going around the corner here and you'll eventually grab some more gems. This is sort of above that area we were at before, and we can access all this stuff over here now. Alright, we've got all the eggs, so we're just going to do some gem cleanup here. As I said before, the gem that I missed was in that chasey bit with the running egg thieves. So I'm just going to go back there and clean up those gems. I think I also did miss some gems with a bird that was flying around there, so we'll need to access that cannon to defeat that bird. Well, sorry, not access the cannon, but do flame the bird. That one's pretty tricky to get. Alright, so I'm going to continue around and head back into that chasey one. And then we're going to get the missed gems in there. Alright. So to get these gems, you just go backwards on this section. They're not that hard to get, it's just they're very easy to miss. And then that brings you up here, which you can get these gems. And that'll be all 500. We can finish up with the level now. Okay, with this level finished, we're going to keep cleaning up Midday Gardens and head through to our next one. Alright, now we're going to move on to our next level. So just clean up the gems around this section and make your way up towards the level. If you haven't opened the level yet, what you need to do is just shoot the target above it. So you can press triangle to go into first person mode there to enter the level. So this level is going to be partially done with Spyro and partially done with Sergeant Bird. So you'll see me actually targeting a lot of these airborne enemies to try and kill them for gems. You probably don't need to be doing that. It would be a little bit quicker to beat them with Sergeant Bird. But anyway, if you do want to kill them with Spyro, you just go into first person and shoot them. But you can come back and clean all this up with the bird later. So we're going to be continuing through this section with the towers here. It's all very linear. So there's not really a whole lot going on there. Just make sure you're killing enemies, you dip out for this egg Gladys, and then you keep moving on through the towers. Eventually you'll find this updraft section. So there's the updraft coming up here. So with the updraft, there is a little secret path backwards that we'll get first. So once you've gone up it, we're going to take a left and then make our way around this tower. And then just glide forward and up here. So you can glide across to this little jar section here, and that should be everything you need. Then if you want, you can glide back to this tower, but this is just where we were earlier in the level. So we'll continue on forward and make our way back to that updraft that we had before. And then we can just glide straight across. Now this is sort of the main segment of the level here. You want to fire off all these rockets and then run around and grab the gems. Once you fire off all the rockets, the statue is going to explode there. And we get a lovely egg for doing that. So with the exploded statue, we will be able to go into that section and go to a secret area related to that. We're just going to take out these guys here and make our way around. This gem up here is very easy to miss. Make sure you get that, and make sure you glide across to these other gems here and then into the hole there. There we go. So this is like a little skateboarding mini game, and it introduces skating tricks. I won't go too much into this, but essentially just like hold triangle and then do flips and turns and everything. You have to beat him for a score and just go around this area and collect up all the gems. I won't show too much of this because it's all pretty same-ish with the skateboarding tricks. Alright, so once all that's done, you'll get your eggs and then you'll head out. We're then going to fly up this updraft and make our way through the rest of the level. You then find this updraft, which sort of brings you back to the starting area. Now we're going to fly up here and find these bone things. When you get 8 of those, you'll get an egg, so make sure you're flaming them whenever you see them and grabbing the bones. We'll then come and grab this other one, which is in this little tower here. But most of these bone guys will be getting with Sergeant Bird when we have the flying ability through the level. So don't worry if you haven't got all of them. Alright, moving on, we're going to ground pound this little bit here. And now we're sort of back at the start of the level, but a little updraft has opened up to get us through. So we'll fly down here and then keep going. Now this section here, there's heaps of these flying enemies. You can kill them all with Spyro, but what's probably easier is just to kill them with Sergeant Bird. Okay, once you killed all those, what you can do is you can head up into that little updraft section if you want, but the main thing we're going to be doing is heading through into the little sub area here. There it is. So with the sub area, you sort of have to guide her dog through it. It's kind of like a puzzle-y thing. So when you fall down the hole, you'll see the dog here, and you're going to guide the dog forward. So you can essentially throw the ball here to lure the dog onto certain things. We'll lure it onto this switch here, and when we lure it onto the switch, it like raises the platforms, and that lets us get up there and hit the button. So I will show most of this section just because it's not all obvious what to do. Essentially what you do now is you bring the dog up here, and the dog can press the button to bring you across, but what you eventually have to do is let the dog across. So the way you let the dog across is to like throw the ball across here, and then you step on the button to let the dog across. So yeah, I have no dog there with me now because he's stuck over there, but essentially yeah, you'll throw the ball over, then you'll step on the button to let him across. You need the ball thrown over because that sort of lures the dog across, so when you step on the button, he'll make it. Anyway, once you got the dog in this section, it's a little bit tricky. You need to step on this button on the ground to lower this platform, and then you throw the ball onto this platform and get the dog here. So that's your first goal. You want the dog over onto this platform. Now, when you got the dog over there, you sort of want to get him onto the button, but you want to be on the platform going up to the red button first. So lure the dog off so the platform goes down, and then you want to throw the ball onto this bit and then very quickly jump across. So throw the ball there, quickly jump across and hit the button. And that's pretty much the dog section done. You just break open the wall here. And then the dog comes back through to its owner. We get an egg for this section and we're going to head back out. Now that we're done with this little subsection, we can just go and get Sergeant Bird. So Sergeant Bird will be able to take out these flying enemies pretty quickly, and he will also be able to fly down and get the rest of the bone people. So I'll just skip through this little bit here. You can see that all these towers pretty much have one of the bone things in it. So make sure you're visiting all those and grabbing all of them. At this point in the level, you really just want to go and clean up any gems you've missed, any flying enemies. And just remember, all the enemies in the air do carry gems. So if you see any enemies flying around, they would have the gems that you're missing. You keep an eye out for these balloons as well. Alright, continuing on, we're going to get the rest of the bone people. You should have all 8 by the time you've done it, everything. And the last one I'm going to get is in here. You do get an egg for getting all these, and you also get a cool bone dance because the skeleton comes to life. Alright, and then I'm just going to go and clean up the rest of the gems. I think what I had was an enemy here which had some gems in it, so I was just missing them. That's 500 out of 500, and that's this level done. Alright, with that level down, we're going to move on to our next one. So there are a few gems to get around this section here, really around Sergeant Bird's base. There's one unbreakable container that you can't get in there yet, but just ground pound everything. Don't forget to go through the water, and then we'll head into our next level. So we'll just head up here. You can sort of climb the ladder to get in. Now in Spooky Swamp, you do want to light all the lanterns. So every time you jump up into one of these bits, you want to light up that wick inside on the candle. So yep, just jump up here, light the wick, and then move on to your next one. You'll see a container that you can't open yet. That needs a key, so don't worry too much about that. You just want to keep progressing forward and lighting the wicks as you go. At this point, you'll see an egg off to the side. You can literally just glide to that one and get it. It's not too tricky. So that would be Michael, the egg there. And then we're going to make our way across here. And just keep lighting the wicks as you go. Make sure you don't miss any of those. Alright, you've got to pay money bags to open the door here, but he will open that up for you, and that gets us through to the next area. Again, just keep going forward and lighting wicks as you go. This will be the last wick that you light here. And coming off this area, you can actually fly through to the next section. So I'd recommend talking to the dude here, not this one necessarily, but the other Firefly guy. And when you talk to the other one, he will actually give you an egg. And that one's actually quite easy to miss. So even if you do light all the wicks, it's easy to miss talking to that dude there. I think I talked to him at the very end of the level, but you can talk to him now if you want. We're going to fly up this section here and get that hidden egg. So there's that one. We're then going to roll all the way around because you can see there's a key in the distance there that we also need to get. So again, we'll climb the last wick, fly forward off the wick, and then take a right on these trees when we go through. And that gets us the key. With the key, we can now head back and open the chest, which has the gems in it. So it's just going to be a bit further back through the level. There it is. So we'll just open that one up, and that gets us lots of gems. Now we can sort of head back to the last area. So there's a few things to do here. There's the boss that we need to kill, there's the egg that we need to get, and there's also the Sheila subsection. So first thing I'm going to do out of that is go to the boss here. The boss is pretty self-explanatory. It just throws these bombs at you. You got to knock them back with your charge, and then when he puts enemies at you, you just got to kill the enemies. So keep doing that process. You'll eventually get to the end of the boss and you'll get your egg. Next thing I'm going to do is go to the Sheila section. So inside the Sheila section, that's just next to the boss. It's pretty hectic. You've got to like guide these firefly things to the end. So take note of what mushrooms I stomp down and what rocks I get rid of, because you need to hit those same ones to clear the path and let them through. Now, it turns out that if you stomp the mushrooms too early, they come back up. So just be careful about that. Make sure you're leaving it till a little bit later to stomp them, and maybe try and have an eye on where he's going and which mushrooms he's going to hit and which rocks he's going to hit. The first one's not too bad. He follows a pretty predictable path. The second one is pretty difficult, and I remember this being one of the harder parts of the game when I first played it. Alright, he'll give you an egg, and then we start the next one. So this one doesn't really follow the path, and he also goes a lot faster, so try and just keep note of what rocks I'm breaking and what mushrooms I'm stomping, and you'll be able to make it through. This one is pretty scary. Alright, now that he's breaking that egg, we can go through and get the rest of the gems for this section. So I'm just going to go through and do a big cleanup. So you will want to go into these alcoves and stomp these. There is a little cave that you can break through up the top there, though I didn't realize at the time, so I come back and get that in a sec. But then I'm going to go to the other alcove and stomp those, and then get the rest of the gems in the level. Alright, so there's one to break up here. You can get through that and get some gems. And then we want to go back to those two alcoves where we did the ground pound one, and we'll get the gems from there. So left into here, we jump up and get break the wall to get the gems. Then we're going to go into the other alcove and do very much the same thing. So jump up and break the wall to get the gems. I'd recommend having this as your last section in the level, so that way you know whether you've missed any gems. Then the last one is a breakable wall just towards the end here. So you go all the way to the end where they are, and you break that wall to get 25. That is really easy to miss those 25 gems. And that's 500 out of 500, so I'm just going to talk to this guy to get the egg, and then we'll be done with this level. Alrighty, with the level done, we're now going to clean up the rest of the hub world here. So we're going to go through and get some gems. Now those big planter pots we can't actually break until we have the super flame power up, which is nearby. We'll break those all right at the end and we get an egg for doing that. Now speaking of, we do have the super flame power up here. So we're going to first use that to break this container. And then we'll make our way back. Alright, so going up and cleaning up some more, there's also a lovely egg here we can get at the top of that ladder there. Pretty easy to miss that one actually. But we'll head back and grab the egg now. And I'm going to go back and grab the super flame power up, and now we're going to break all those big planters. So just using it on there, you should be able to get 4 out of 4 eventually. That's 4 out of 4. I also had missed some gems at the very start of the hub world when I did this playthrough, so I'm just going to go and grab those now. That should be 400 out of 400 for you. Now we're going to head into the next level. So we'll make our way back through this bit. And just up into the portal here. Alright, so this level is fairly linear, so not much to it really. Just basically go through and you want to grab all the gems here, and as you kill the enemies chasing the pandas are going to open up new paths for you. So just keep going through, grabbing yourself some gems. They'll roll aside the stone here and let you through. Then we go through to our next section. Alright, again, just going through here, grabbing all the gems. There are some eggs in this section now as well. So if you drop down from this bit here, you'll see an egg down on the platform there. We can grab that. And there's also a rhino up there. So we will be killing him and grabbing an egg behind him as well. Don't forget to go down into the water and grab some gems. There's also that hidden bit there which has some 1-ups if you want those. And we're going to come back out of the water and then go and get the egg up a little bit higher. So once you kill all the rhinos chasing the pandas, they will build the bridge for you. We're just going to go and grab this egg and then we'll head across. There we go. So we got Madison, which is good. We'll make our way through here and across the bridge. Now, this is one of the levels that we actually can't 100% until we come back because it has one of the Yeti areas that we can't get into yet. So just be aware of that as you're playing through. We're going to go around to this water section. There is also a really fun glitch you can do with the water here where basically if you dive under it as you're going off the waterfall, Spyro starts swimming through the air and then you can just like fly all around the level essentially, but it thinks you're swimming. I don't do that in this playthrough because it would be sort of using a glitch and then wouldn't be a very good walkthrough, but it is very worth playing around with if you want something fun to do on this level. So we're going to talk to this panda here and he gives us an egg too. Don't forget to actually talk to him. Also there's this jar that we can break and that jar will start moving around the level. So at first time it is there. So you can see behind the jar there is that Yeti door that we can't get into yet. So just be aware we will have to come and do another visit to this level here. So talk to the panda, grab the egg and then break the jar. We essentially have to chase the jar all the way back to the start of the level. So we'll chase it back through all these sections we went through before. There's also one of these egg thief enemies that you want to chase down. Just remember charge towards it and then flame to do that last little bit of distance. So the jar will be back through the level. First one here is near where the bridge was actually constructed. And then it sort of just keeps going back further and further. So as long as you're making your way backwards through the level, you will see the jar and come across it at every spot. That one's a bit tricky to find because it's behind the stone that they rolled away, but there it is. And then the last bit of the jar is just back at the very start of the level there. You break it open to get a whole bunch of gems. Then you'll want to go up onto the shortcut path of the bridge and make your way into this secret area here. Now with this secret area, essentially what you need to do is just go onto the boat and shoot down all the rhinos and you'll eventually get an egg for doing that. There we go, we got our egg. And that's pretty much going to be all that we can do in the level for now. So you'll notice we haven't 100%ed the level because we need the Yeti to properly do that. Alright, so you can see that pretty much opened up the balloon and then we're going to go towards Evening Lake. That'll bring us to the next boss here. We get a little cutscene before that. Alright, with this boss here, you essentially just have to fire these at it. So you can just charge into them and keep hitting him with it. Pretty straightforward boss, this one. Just keep doing that until you've beaten him. Once the boss is beaten, we get our egg and then we'll make it through to the next area. Okay, much like last time, we're going to get the animal transformation for this area and then go back to Midday Gardens. Just because I want to be sort of 100%ing it as much as I can before moving on. I will be doing a little bit of gem cleanup here and a little bit of just flying around doing stuff. But the main thing we're going to be doing here is getting that Yeti transformation. There's an egg here, we get Stuart. Once we've got Stuart, we continue across, climb up the ladder here. There's a couple more gems to grab here. And another egg while we're at it. There's also this secret wall in here with another egg in it. And then we're going to head up through this tunnel. So this tunnel is actually where the transformation is. You'll have to pay money bags some gems, but then we get this transformation. So this transformation is called Bentley. So yeah, controls are pretty straightforward. You got your slam attack and your like twirly attack, and you can also jump. Bentley's pretty slow, but you don't really need to move fast or anything. So you just go through this level. The actual Bentley level itself isn't overly complicated. The only thing is really just hitting those gongs to pull down the ice things, but it's pretty self-explanatory once the character says what to do. Make sure you don't miss those gems in there and we'll keep moving forward. With the seals in the distance, you do want to hit their snowballs back at them because you will get gems from the seals. So those are probably the gems that you might have missed if you've missed any in this level. So make our way back through this cave, getting gems as we go. That brings us back to the starting area, in which case we'll walk back forward. And there's another gong here that we can break. And now we've got boxes that we can push. So with these boxes, you just walk next to them and push them, really. Got another egg in here as well, and a few little puzzles here and there. So to get across these boxes, you essentially just want to push them together to make yourself a little pathway across. Make sure you're checking for all these secret caves on the edge. You can usually tell because it's sort of transparent looking ice blocking it off. And there we go. That should help us get across. Alright, with that we got all the gems and all the eggs, so we're done with Bentley's level. We can actually head back to Midday Gardens as well. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to swim out of this section. And we're going to head into Midday Gardens from this menu. So a couple things we have to do here. We need to go back and do the Yeti section of the level we missed before. We also need to do the Speedway level and we need to do the Sparks level. So a few little things to clean up. But once we cleaned up those things, we should have 100%ed this entire area. So we're going to head into this level here, Bamboo Terrace. You basically, what you want to do is head all the way up towards the end of the level and just go through the Yeti door. I probably should have taken the shortcut to get through rather than going the long way, but I wasn't thinking efficiently at the time. Essentially, there you go. So now that we're up here, we can just jump across this little gap and go into the Yeti section. Alright, so keep going through, getting through these enemies here. Make sure you're breaking pretty much everything in sight because lots of stuff does have gems in it. With this, you can just sort of go to the side and you will generally avoid things. Make sure you're breaking the boulders as they're coming towards you. And eventually come out onto the roofs. Make sure you go there and break all the containers. And we'll make it up to this big central section here. Now that we're in here, we have a lovely egg and a couple gems to collect still. Alright, with that we got all the gems and all the eggs, so that's that area done. Alright, moving on, we're going to go to our next level here. So this here will be the Speedway level. Same format as the last Speedway level, so you got a time trial, you got a race, and you've got a secret hunter minigame. So we do our time attack first. We got to fly through all the rings, and we got to hit all the tractors. This is the order that I found the easiest, hitting all the tractors there next. And then you can hit these cow things. Just make sure you're flaming them as you go, and then we can hit all the planes. I like to fly against the grain, so to speak, with the planes, and that's because each next one comes at you slightly quicker, so it makes the whole process a bit quicker. You should have 400 gems and the egg from that. Next we got the race. I will show you one lap in full, just so you can see all the boosts that I'm taking. So with this one, you want to immediately duck to the left and take these. Try and avoid the red stars if possible. And make sure you're dipping down and grabbing all these stars that I'm getting. These races will start getting pretty tricky, so you really want to be hitting the same stars. Some stars save more times than others because, like, with some stars you have to go more out of your way to get them, but most stars are worth it if you can get them at all. There we go, that's one lap in full. and the rest are pretty much the same. Alright, with the race done, we have to go back into time attack mode and then do the minigame. So to find Hunter, you basically just want to fly through here until you get to this building. He's in here. And then we've got this sort of UFO game. You basically just have to kill all the UFOs, there's not much to it really. Alright, eventually he'll give you the egg and then you'll be done. And then we can just exit through that level. Next we got a Sparks level, so make sure you do this one as well, it's pretty easy to miss. Essentially it's a similar format to the other level. So you want to be grabbing keys, going through doors and getting any gems that you come across really. Make sure that when enemies are coming out of the dispenser, you're actually breaking the dispenser straight away as much as you can. And use those special power-ups if you feel that you need to. Alright, eventually you'll get to the end of the Sparks level and come towards this boss. Just beat that and you'll get the egg. Make sure you got all the gems as well, and that should be the Sparks level done for you. Alright, with the Sparks level done, we pretty much 100%ed Midday Gardens, so we're just going to head back to the balloon. And you'll notice that we've now unlocked that ability for Sparks to point towards a treasure if we've missed it. So that's really, really valuable. So from this point on, if you have missed any treasure earlier in the game, you can go back and you can just hold all 4 shoulder buttons and Sparks will point towards the treasure. And now in any future levels, if we miss any, you can do the exact same thing. So it's very useful, that ability. Okay, so we're just going to dip into this level first. And we'll start going through all these ones in this section. So this level is quite linear, just explore all the nooks and crannies as you go. Jump up to this wall here and go across. This level's got the gimmick of people with magic, so they can tend to like make things bigger or make platforms come out or whatever. Alright, we have money bags so you can raise up the stairs for us. So we'll utilize that. Now those two up there you can actually kill eventually, but I'll do those right at the end of the level. You use the super flame power up and you sort of like go into first person mode. But we can glide down here and get an egg, and here's that super flame power up I was talking about. Just break all the containers down here and keep going on. Once you get to the top of this, you can sort of glide down here and start getting lots of goodies. Make sure you do go to this section because this one will be pretty easy to miss. And back to where we found the super flame power up before. You can then sort of glide down here and across, and you can sort of make a glide across to this section here. You can get a skill point for doing that. I don't think there's any gems in there though. Alright, now we're up these stairs, we're going to make our way through to the next section here. Alright, so these platforms will go out and in, just use them to climb. And we'll move on through here. Now we've got all the gems, we're going to make our way up through this section. So take the updraft here and fly up. That'll open the door and then we get a cutscene for the end of the level. So now we've done that, we've got a few things to clean up. So we're sort of back at the start of the level here, although you can fly through to the end section. We're going to fly up to the roof here, and there's lots of stuff around here that we didn't get before, so we'll just do that. There's also this section here. So we got another Sergeant Bird sub-level. This one's pretty straightforward though, you just sort of go in here and kill all the enemies, not much to it, so there's no like gems or anything in here. Alright, with Sergeant Bird done, we can head back to the main level. And we just killed this enemy. And there should be one of these containers that we can break that moves all around the level. So again, this one sort of will trace its way back through the level. So there's a little sub area in here that you can explore as well. But we'll just make our way through now. And there are gems down here, so don't forget to grab those. There's a container next. And the next one. This next container here is pretty tricky to find, but it sort of is more towards the start of the level again. And then keep following it back. The general trend with these containers is they go more and more back towards the start of the level, so that's your direction you want to be going with them. Alright, there we go. Now we got all those gems, we can make our way back through. Alright, so next thing I'm going to do is this sub area, which is where the container was before. So we got this dude with the seeds. Now, the yellow ones are just like a normal platform, and then the red ones are bouncy. But the thing about the red ones is you can't jump on the red ones from the ground. You have to use a yellow one to get up to it. So it's sort of like a little puzzle thing here. I'm going to use a red one to bounce up to this container, and then I'm going to talk to the dude to reset the puzzle, because you can't actually get across to the platform there as is. So we talk to the dude here and he'll reset it for us. And then next time we reset it, we're going to put them in the opposite order. So I'm going to put yellow on the left and red on the right. So we'll just do that. And that gives us the tools to get up here. And then we do similar puzzles for the rest. So here, I'm going to do red on the right and yellow on the left. They can be a bit finicky trying to get them to plant, but they do work eventually. There we go. And there we go. Then going to turn around and glide back down through this section. That gives us another yellow seed, which is lovely, which we can plant just here. Alright, he follows us up. And we're going to get some more seeds, which is good. So this one's a bit weird. We're going to plant the red seed here, and we're going to like jump off the platform onto the red seed. But we're going to have another red seed ready to go. There we are. Then we're going to have yet another red seed ready to go. And we can sort of hop across these two red ones to get to the end now. Now this next part is quite tricky and it can take a little while to figure out. You got 3 little plots to fill and you've got a yellow and 2 reds. So that's one of the reds there that we're going to plant. And we're going to plant the other red. But it's a little bit weird because if you plant a yellow anywhere, it's not going to work. So what you actually need to do is flame that one to get the red seed back. Use the yellow one from the next section and put it back here. Grab the red one. So now you brought 3 reds into this section, which you shouldn't normally have. But what 3 reds allows you to do is, well, plant all 3 reds, and that will actually allow you to get across. I'm fairly sure this is the intended method, but this is the only way I could find to do it. So I'm assuming this is how they want you to do it, but who knows. Anyway, you'll come up here, you'll get an egg, but you're going to be able to ground pound through that wood panel there. So make sure you do that before you leave. When you ground pound through this, you're going to have another little ground pound gem thing. Now we've still got a couple of gems to get, and those are from the 2 enemies from before. So what you want to do with these 2 enemies, you can do this at any point, but just grab the flame power up from the cave here, run all the way back. And with the flame power up, you can actually go into first person with triangle and shoot them that way. Very easy to miss those 2 gems there. Alright, with that level done, we're going to move on. You can go pretty much just straight into here. This is the speedway level. Again, same format as the other ones. So with this level here, we get our time trial first. So I find it easiest to do honeycombs. Once the honeycombs are done, sort of do these bears, but go against the grain so that you can shoot them all. And then do the beehives. And then you can sort of do the bees like as you're doing the beehives, just like this. There we go. And you can do the rest of the beehives. Then after this, of course, we have the racing section, same format as last time. So I will show you a lap so that you can see all the little boosters that I go through. This is where the races really start getting quite tricky. And the rest of the laps are going to be pretty much the same as that. So eventually you'll be able to win the race. And then we have our hunter egg to get after that. So to get the hunter egg, you want to go back into time trial mode and we'll find hunter. So he's just sitting there. You would have probably seen him while you were doing the time trial or the race. And with him, you just got to outrun these. So just jump over all the obstacles, try not to hit anything. You'll get to the end and that should give you an egg. Alright, and that's the speedway level done. You can just exit out of there. Alright, next we're going to move on. We'll grab a couple gems here and there. We'll head straight into this one. So this level is lots of fun. It's got some toxic water, but you'll eventually be able to swim through that water. It's also got lots of birds. So every time you see a cannon, make sure you're shooting down all the birds because they all have gems in them. So go through this first section. We'll collect up a whole bunch of gems. And then when you're ready, you want to jump into the cannon. With the cannon, you can shoot off all the stuff up here. You can also get rid of some of the birds. Lots of things to do with that cannon there. Make sure you break pretty much everything you can see in sight. There's like a metal container there that you can break before. There's some birds, lots of things going on. Once you got that all broken, you can go into the thing you just opened up with the cannon. There it is. Alright, if you drop down here, there's more gems, and then you can just jump across the gap to go into this section. Next, we're going to go up to, there's another cannon here. So we can kill some of the birds again with that. We can also break open the boat section. With that section we broke open, we can now head into the boat. There's a lot to do in here. So that dude gives us an egg. We can also swim down into the water here if we want. So you need the shield power up if you're going to do that. Now this bit here just brings us back out to where we started. So not a whole lot to do here apart from ride the updraft and go into this new section. Alright, now back into the boat that we came from. We're going to take this updraft here. And we're going to grab all the gems that are around. And we'll shoot all the birds. So it can be kind of tricky to get these, but try and like predict their flight path and just stay in advance to where you know they're going to go. And that way you'll be able to hit them pretty easily. Anyway, eventually you'll hit all the birds and you want to fly into that mouth thing over there. And this is a secret area. So he talks about going into a sub. So you're going to use the sub to break all like the metal containers. And with hitting the enemies here, you want to have them on screen for long enough that all 3 circles go red, and then you press the fire button, and then you should be able to get all 6 of those. Basically, just go through and clean up this area. Make sure you've broken any metal containers with the submarine, and then we'll come back with Spyro and actually clean up all the gems afterwards. So again, same sort of thing here. You just want to hit all 7 submarines. Once you're confident, you can get the shield power up with Spyro and just go and clean up the rest of the gems in this section. Alright, with that section done, we're going to come back out. And one very big thing we haven't done is swim under the water yet, so we're going to do that. So grab your shield power up, go straight down. Just be aware that this thing is on a timer. So there's lots of little twists and turns that you can take in the water, but I'll try and go through the main ones and show you. Of course, our power up has run out there, so that's not very good. One thing you can do is sort of go around this wall here. It is possible to make it up to that platform there, but you just want to make sure you've broken the container with the cannon first, because there's a container there that has a lot of gems in it that you can't break normally. So we'll come back there and jump up to the container a little bit later on. If you take a right when you go on the water first of all, you'll get to this new section here. Lots of goodies in there. And you can sort of go past these crabs and go to this section over here as well. Now this is another skateboarding section, so it's essentially a race that you've got to win, and yeah, you can get more power-up boosty boosts by doing tricks. So essentially what you want to do is be boosting as much as possible, but doing a lot of tricks when you jump off ramps and stuff. Now remember with tricks, that's something like holding triangle and doing a bunch of spins or flips or whatever. So it's pretty self-explanatory. There's a lot of ramps that are up high that have gems on them, so just keep your eye out for all that. Make sure you're grabbing all the gems on the track. You should be pretty much done. Then you have to race Hunter. You have to also kill these crabs. So once you do that, you'll get another egg. And then we're going to head back into the main level. So a couple more things to do. There was that big metal container that we broke, so we're going to glide around here and get that now that it's open. And just be aware that sometimes gems fall on the floor when you break that metal container. And there's still a little bit more of underwater exploring that we've got to do. So you can see some gems under the water here. We've got to come through to this section. The way that you can do that pretty easily is just by getting the shield power up and jumping out of the ship. And you just get all these. I also believe I missed a bird before, so I'm going to go and get that. Hopefully you've got all of them when you did the original cannon shots though. But there are a lot of birds, so it can be pretty easy to miss. There we go. And last thing is just a bit of extra swimming here. So if you swim like forward and then like right again, you'll find this secret tunnel, which does have an egg in it, which is pretty good. There we go. I'm going to fly through here. And I'm pretty sure I missed a green gem on the boat when I did this playthrough, so I'm just going to go and grab that, and that's all 600. That's level done. Alright, moving on, we get a little cutscene, and then we're going to go to the next level. Alright, that whale has an egg in it. I'm going to get that a little bit later. We're just going to keep going through, grabbing gems, and making our way to the next one. Alright, this is Fireworks Factory, so with the fireworks, they do keep respawning until you break the box of fireworks. There's also another level that we can't 100% yet until we have our next animal buddy, so just be aware of that as you're playing through. Sorry, not fireworks, ninjas. The ninjas keep coming out until you break the ninja box. Alright, so just go through and then we... there's not really a whole lot that you can achieve by defeating the ninjas here, so just go through and break all the containers. We'll eventually break the ninja dispensers as we get further up, but you don't have access to them right now. Alright, that little cannon thing doesn't do anything yet, but it will eventually once it opens up. So we're going to head through to this next section. And there's a little egg in the lava here that's worth getting. And you can pick up these little rocket things. For example, you can use it to break those metal containers. Just be sure that if you have one in your mouth, you're only charging and not flaming, because as soon as you try and flame an enemy, you'll shoot the rocket and lose it. Alright, moving on, we'll come up this ladder. These enemies are pretty vulnerable to those rocket attack things. Now we're going to make our way through here, and she opens up the little cannon for us. We then just jump down into that little building to get some more gems. And we'll go back up and actually use the cannon. So we talk to her, she opens it up, and we fire ourselves off. You're going to clean up the gems in here and run across the bridge. You can see that's the first instance of a ninja box that we've destroyed. So I don't know how they fit so many ninjas in there, but they do. You basically just want to destroy all those as you're going so that no more ninjas get dispensed. You can destroy these enemies, but you need to keep going and grabbing a rocket every time you do one. More ninja boxes here. Now we can take a visit to the secret area here. So with this secret area, it's sort of like a long way around kind of thing. There is an egg straight up there, but he said you got to go the long way around. So yeah, fairly linear section. There's not a whole lot you can miss in this. Just make sure you're taking the rocket back and killing any of those really big enemies like the ones there. And you should be able to get all the gems through here pretty easily. Now once you make it all the way around, you'll see the egg there. And then we're going to head out of a secret area. Right, we'll come up here, and we get a lovely cutscene there. It's all going on. And that opens the cannon for us as well. Now, down the hole here is the area that we can't open yet. We need our next animal buddy to do that. So we're not going to be doing that yet. We will just glide across here and go into this other secret area first. With this secret area, there's sort of two dragons. You have to hit their bodies rather than their heads. It's pretty tedious, actually, but eventually you do make it through. So basically, just go through, kill all those dragons. And then grab any gems in this area that you need. Alright, so yeah, the dragons are gone now. I'm just going to go and clean up the gems in this area and then we'll make it out. Now I just happened to miss a little gem here, so I'm just going to go back and grab that. There it is, but you won't be at 100% this level yet because we need our next animal buddy. Alright, we're just going to head out and then go to our next level here. So we're going into Frozen Altars here. This one has a little weird gimmick where you can shoot ice rather than fire, and that'll let you freeze enemies. Just be aware that sometimes you can use enemies as a platform to jump on, so that can be pretty useful for you. You go around and get all the gems here. And then whenever we head into a building like this, we get this little magnifying glass that can take out enemies on the ground, so be sure to use that. Alright, we'll keep going around and then you have to sort of jump up onto this building to make it around to the next section. There's a few tricky glides you can do to get some more gems, but for now we're just going to take the normal path through the level by gliding down here. And jumping into this tower and beating that snowman there. Alright, coming into this cave here. And to get up onto this platform, we need to use our ice. So you want to freeze an enemy or an NPC and jump on top of it to get up here. This guy's pretty easy to freeze, so you can just freeze him and jump straight up. Alright, moving on, we're going to come out of this building. And another magnifying glass that we have access to here. And we can then go into this secret area. So we have Bentley here, and you got to do a boxing match against this guy. No gems in here, so just win the boxing match, and then you'll be done. Alright, with all that done, we get our eggs, and then we're going to head out. So we'll talk to this guy who opens the door up for us, and we got a bit more cleanup to do. We'll talk to Moneybags here, which opens up this new area. In this area, we've just got a minigame here. So if you win the minigame, you'll make it through. No gems or anything. Alright, now that we're done in here, we'll just head back out. So continuing on with more gem cleanup here. Then we'll go around and get all these. And there are some pretty tricky glides that you can do here just to get some more gems. So I'm going to come back through the start of the level here, and then we're going to be able to get some more height just by jumping up near this section here. So if we go up this tower, you can do like a little dash jump off here to make this ledge jump. I'm not sure if there's a better way to get up there, but that's the way that I found to get up here and grab these gems. You notice there's also an egg up in the other section that we can grab. But we'll grab that a little bit later. We're going to do a very similar jump up here again, but this time we're going to go up these steps. These steps have a lot of gems on them. There's a few goodies in this room here. Be sure to grab these gems up here and also the egg that's across from this bit. Alright, we're then going to head through this bit of the level again. And we'll head up and around this section. And we got a big glide to do across to this building, and then once again, just to get to the egg here. That egg is pretty well hidden. Now we are still missing some gems in this section here, so just on these steps you want to just go around to the side, and there are the gems there. That's all 600, and that's the level done. Alright, time to head through to the next level in this hub world. So just going to jump up here. And this is the dragonfly section, which we can't get to yet, unfortunately, but we will come back and do this bit. And we can glide down here to grab an egg. Alright, moving on. Pretty much we've done everything we need to do here, so we're going to actually go in and fight the boss now. So if you try and go to Midnight Mountain, you'll come across it. Alright, now after the cutscene, you'll come across the boss here. So you get little power-ups from the various enemies around. You're just going to use those to shoot the boss. Wait till its shield goes down, of course. You repeat that a few times, you'll eventually get to the end of it. Okay, now that we're in the new hub world, we're going to do very much the same gameplay loop, which is to get our next animal buddy and bring them back to the previous world. So we're going to go back to the third hub world, and that will be basically the first 300%ed. We'll just go and get some gems and eggs while we're here. And if we glide back, we should be able to get to our next animal friend. So once again, the same loop, pay money, bag some money, he'll unlock the animal for us. And we get a little cutscene, then we're going to go into his level. So Agent 9 is sort of like a shooter character. You can sometimes go first person, sometimes third person, but this is a third person level. Now this level is extremely easy to miss gems on. It took me actually quite a long time to get all the gems here and not miss any. The one major thing you want to look for is balloons in the air. They are so easy to miss, and if you don't just look up constantly, you're going to be missing gems all the time. So remember, you can go into first person mode and look up. You've got these sections here where you've got the jars, but we also can't break that container yet, so we will come back to that one. Moving on, we're going to keep hitting these statues. You can't get through that door, so you're just going to go into the cave, and then in the cave we open up a new area. So again, you can already see these balloons up in the air that we're hitting. Make sure you're hitting all those where possible. So we're going to go into this section here. You'll have a little shootout with these rhino things, and then you want to get all the little jars and balloons and stuff in here. And it's up. There is a balloon up in this room that I've missed in this playthrough, and then I come back and get it a little bit later, so just be aware of that. Next we got a little shootout in here as well with the birds. Once you get through that, just grab all the gems and head through again. Alright, after that room's cleared up, we're going to head through. And this little dispenser dispenses these extra bomb things, so we'll be able to use those to break open jars and stuff. You might remember there was a jar right at the start of the level that we need to break open in a similar way. So there's more balloons up in the top as well that we need to break. And we'll keep going through. You will get to the end of the level eventually. And this guy will be very happy and make a portal for you and everything. There's still quite a bit of cleanup to do here. So you're coming through, make sure you use your bombs to break open those metal crates as much as possible, just like that. And if we come back, there should be this gate here. You can actually lob a bomb over the top of that to hit the button. Even though it looks like the gate should be properly sealed, it is not. But anyway, we're going to go back to the jar that we were at the previous area with. And we just break that open with a bomb, and then head back out. And we can do that thing that I was talking about with lobbing across the gate. So here you go. You can kind of lob across the gate there and grab all the goodies here. And there's also enemies in the water in this section, so just be aware of those. Make sure you're hitting them. There we are. So you just want to lob bombs at them. Or shoot them, sorry. That'll get you an egg, and then we're just going to head back and get that balloon that we missed that I was talking about before. There's a couple up there, and then a couple back in this main area here. So yeah, here are the gems that I missed. They're pretty easy to forget about. That's that level done. So with that level done, we are going to head back to the third hub world, and we're going to clean up the rest of that. So just jump back into the little balloon here, and then we'll go through the loading zone. Sorry, not balloon, spaceship now, it's upgraded. Evening Lake, that's where we're going. Alright, back in Evening Lake, we need to get this egg from the whale here. You can just go into the whale's mouth. You find the egg name pretty funny there. Moving on out of the whale's mouth, we're going to go into the fireworks factory. Now this fireworks factory did have an Agent 9 section in it, so now that we have Agent 9 we can actually get into it. This is another one with this level that you can just glide into the top of the loading zone. You don't actually need to unlock Agent 9, you can glitch your way in. But if you're going to do it the proper intended way, this is how you do it. So we're going to come back into Agent 9's area, and it looks like we'll be in first person mode for this one. So you just want to basically go through the room and kill all the ninjas. Once you get to the end of it, you're actually going to have to go back through this section. So yeah, just going through, getting through all these. Not a whole lot that is possible to miss here, so I won't dwell too much on it. But yeah, basically what you're going to do is get to the end, but then after you get to the end, you're going to come back and break the ninja boxes all over again. So that'll give you more gems than what you had at the start, so just be aware of that. There will be that backtracking. Yep, so we got the egg there. Now we're making our way back. Nothing else will drop new gems except for the ninja boxes, so you can just run through and grab all the ninja boxes if you want. But once we got all the ninja box gems, that should be all the gems for the level, because we would have done most of this level beforehand anyway. And 600 out of 600 gems, that's everything complete. We also get that last egg there as well. We're going to exit out the level and we'll go to the Sparks level. So just climbing up this ladder here, that is how you get to the Sparks level. And there we are. This level's pretty straightforward and linear, so I actually am going to skip past it. It's pretty hard to miss anything here. Just do the best, make sure you're using your strafe button and your power-ups. Alright, eventually we'll get to the end of the Sparks level and be done. That's all we can head back to this main area here, Midnight Mountain. In Midnight Mountain, we're actually just going to start cleaning out all the levels here. This will be the last hub here. You can see there's a few things going on, like gems around and this chasey dude. We're just going to catch him now. Don't forget there are some gems behind level portals occasionally, you just got to be aware of that. And we're going to head into this level here. So the gimmick of this level is magic, and just be aware that you will get a flying ability at some point during this level, so don't feel like you have to get everything, especially in the air, at the start of the level. Do make sure you swim in this lake though, that's pretty easy to miss these gems. Now we're going to glide down here and keep going through. It's a fairly linear path really. More swimming underwater in this section, and come back out. You want to talk to this guy every time you want the platforms up, because if you do it once, then when he comes back, the platforms are down again. Similar thing here, this dude will start something that has an updraft in the center of that building there, but by the time you've gone around and got all the gems, you probably need to talk to that dude again to get the updraft going, so just be aware of that. So that's what we're going to do here, talk to him again to get it going. We'll ride that updraft into the next section. And we got to talk to Moneybags in this level as well. So he makes a lovely bridge for us there as well. More underwater gems. And then once we've done that, we're going to move on. There's some little crystals which appear and we can use them as platforms. Then we're going to keep going. There's this little slide here. Just kind of like slow down on the slide and take your time. Make sure you're grabbing all the gems as you go. Can be a bit tricky to do this one. Alright, moving on from this little sub area. We're going to glide across here. We obviously can't open that yet. But if we glide across to this next section, we can get the flying. Just the first thing we're going to do is this little Yeti sublevel. So the Yeti sublevel is pretty linear. There's not a whole lot that you can miss here. Just keep going through, moving the boxes around and hitting these enemies on the ground. Alright, we're done with the Yeti sublevel. Now we can actually fly about all through the level. There's lots of goodies. One of the really big things is that we got this egg dude flying around, so make sure you do grab him. Gems on top of various sections of the level. And we can get the key up here for that treasure chest that we saw before. It can be a bit hard to catch this guy, but just keep flaming him, you'll eventually get it. Alright, now that we're flying around here, you could just take a turn back here and grab the gem. Then we can fly over to the next section of the level. Up here there's various goodies, so there's an egg, there's a few gems, and there's actually the key to the treasure chest. So it's very much worth going up here. Alright, we're just going to zip back around through the level again and get flying again, just because we need to get that key still. So I'm going to fly up to this bit and grab the key, and then we're going to fly back to the chest which has all the gems in it. So that's the chest here. Let's open that up and get those gems. Now I just happen to miss a gem back here, but that should be 700 out of 700, then we're all done with this level. Alright, moving on. So we're going to just clear out the gems in this section. Get the egg there. We can fly up. Make sure you check behind all the level entrances because there's usually stuff there. I'm then going to go into this level. So this level, clear out all the gems in the first section, and we're going to head across the goo. We don't have the key yet, of course. We're just going to keep heading across through this bit. And with these guys that heat up the ground, you just basically got to go as soon as the ground stops being heated up, and then you have just enough time to dash them. Make our way across here, and we can't get up to that little Sheila section there yet, so we're just going to keep going. Now we can sort of go up that ladder there, but that's pretty open-ended. We're just actually going to go into the tomb here. We'll talk to Moneybags to get him to open it up, and we're just going to kill all the enemies in here. This is a pretty hectic section with lots of enemies to kill. Eventually you want to climb this ladder and try and make your way up. It can be a little bit dicey to get up the whole thing, but you'll eventually make it. There's a couple goodies here, including this bit, which is actually a secret area. In this secret area there's a lot of swimming. It's going to be pretty similar to one of the previous minigames we played. Just going to keep hitting the sharks and grabbing all the gems that we possibly can. And then going to head out of this secret area. Don't forget to grab this 25 gem over here. That's pretty easy to miss. And we'll make our way out to the exit of this tomb. It looks like a Tomb Raider ripoff really here. Pretty funny reference for them to be making. But anyway, once we've talked to her, that's sort of the main egg of the level. We can then make our way back to that ladder we could have climbed before and go to sort of the Sheila area and everything else. Alright, so climbing the ladder here, there's a few different things we can do. First of all, we're going to kill this enemy and then glide across. And this is a nice little path with lots of goodies on it. There's an egg there too. I'm actually just going to glide across to Sheila's section pretty soon. And we'll get that done just while we're here. So Sheila's section is sort of a side-scrolly 2D bit. It's pretty hard to miss any gems and stuff on here, so I just skip through it. But anyway, once Sheila's done, we're just going to climb up this ladder again to get our height back. And we're going to glide straight across this hand here instead. Now that has a little ground pound bit to get some more gems out, and if we glide back to Sheila, you can glide to the left to get to a new area that we haven't been to yet. So just going to glide through here and kill all the enemies, get all the gems, etc. Alright, now that we've got all that stuff there, I think we should have the key so we can open up the chest over here. That'll be some more gems for us, and now we got all the gems and all the eggs. That's the level done. Right after we've returned, we're just going to head through. If this here is the door to the final boss of the game, really, which you need 100 eggs to open, but we're not going to go in there quite yet. So sort of grabbing all the gems around here. There's also an egg up on this section. We can then fall down and go into the next level eventually. We take a sharp right here, and this is the next level's hub. Don't forget to grab gems behind level portals. They really love that in this world. So this is Haunted Tomb. This one's a bit funky. You can pick up projectiles to throw at enemies throughout this level, so just be aware of that. And you kind of need them to break those coffins, and you do need to break those coffins to get gems and stuff, so it can be pretty hectic managing your projectiles and everything. Just be aware when you hit these switches, the doors will open, so you can use that to get through the rest of the level. Now, those enemies actually throw balls at you that you can pick up and throw. So I'd be picking up all those balls and throwing them at the coffins and the enemies, etc. There are some opportunities to get those projectiles later on when the roof sort of falls in on you. But you should take every opportunity you have now, for example, here to go back and break that coffin. This is probably one of the easier levels to miss gems on, just because those coffins aren't easily breakable straight up. And you do need to break all of them to get all the gems. So going through. As I said before, there's this section where the rocks can fall. That can be used to get more projectiles if you've killed all the enemies that give you projectiles. So just be aware of that. Okay, heading through is hit the switch and go through the door. We then have this big section with lots of coffins. Okay, it's going to go through and clear this out. Make sure you get projectiles and break all the coffins where possible. Alright, so moving on, we're going to go through this section. Just make your way through, grabbing everything as you go. Remember, if you do need more precision, you can go first person mode with the shooting here, just by hitting triangle. And timing can be pretty tight getting in those doors. Just make sure you're dashing and everything to make it through as quick as possible. Alright, we've got a little secret area here. This is just sort of demolition of hovercraft, not much to this, just break all the other cars really. There we go, with that done, we're going to head out of this area. Then we're going to go into this little subsection with Agent 9. Agent 9 won't have too much to do. I do need to talk you through this little quiz though. So he'll give you a riddle. You hit footsteps, and then you go in. And you just break through all the enemies really here. And we get that lovely egg at the end. So the first one here is an egg. So the egg is the answer you want to give there. Alright, we're going to climb up this ladder and then go down the snake slide. I'd recommend ending the level here because it's a bit tricky to get off the snake slide. 700 and all the eggs. Right, with that level done, we're just going to keep making our way through this little hub world here. Can't do the Sparks level yet. We'll have to actually beat the final boss before we do that. So the final boss isn't really the final boss. We'll come back after the final boss. We do have this level here that we can go into for now. the dino mines. One thing really important, you can actually break the cacti in this level. I didn't realize that when I was doing this playthrough, so I had to go back and break all the cacti afterwards. You just flame them or something to get all the gems behind them. So my gem counts will be a little bit off during this, but they do fix themselves at the end once I get all the cacti. Anyway, we can't break into that cage yet, but we can make our way around. One thing that you can do when you get to this section is glide around to the left, because that gives us a secret that we didn't find before. Sort of behind the houses at the start of the level, so glide off this one, go left, and you'll make your way up there. That's absolutely crucial to beating through the whole level, 100%. Because obviously you can't get that egg without doing it. Then to get out, you can just glide back around. I'm pretty sure you can glide from the start at the start, but I like to glide around from this bit just so you can really see what you're doing. Alright, moving through. Going through this house, grabbing more gems outside the house, going through the water. I believe there was a secret wall there, so just be aware there's a secret wall in that water section. I'll try and zoom out on it a bit more. There we go. And we'll continue on through. Right, we have Agent 9 here. Agent 9's got this little shooting minigame. You can shoot out the windows, just be aware of that. So the minigame will play normally. You sort of just shoot out as you go, but then eventually you get to come back through this section and get a whole bunch of gems. So my recommendation for sub-areas when you play is use that little dragonfly trick where you're holding down all the shoulder buttons, just to see where there's any missed gems. So that if you have missed any, you can just grab them and you don't have to like come back into sub-areas and see. Anyway, we'll just go through with Agent 9. Nothing much here about missed gems. Just be really sure that you do shoot out all the windows. It's not always obvious you can do it until you do it. And pretty much every window in this level will be breakable, so it's worth checking them all. Once you think you got all the gems of that section, do exit out. Then we can go into this water section here. Get a few goodies. And we got a secret area. With the secret area, that's sort of another one of these tunnel minigames. Not a whole lot to it apart from just avoiding everything you don't want to hit. And we'll head out of this secret area. We can sort of break through this and that gets us into the jail. Now at this point you'd normally be finished the level, although as I said I didn't realize that you had to kill the cactuses, so I'm just going to swing back around through the rest of the level now and break all the cactuses. The cacti here. So you just flame them and make your way through. There's one little cactus over here that you need to get, and that's all 700 gems. Alright, returning back to Midnight Mountain, we're just then going to take a left and head across the bridge here. Before you do that, you can ground pound through here though, and get an egg and some gems. That should be all the eggs in this section. So we'll head across the bridge, and this should be our speedway level. Speedway level is pretty self-explanatory. We have the time trials in the race just like before. I like getting the seagulls first. Sort of interweaving these. There's not really a good order that I could say for this, because you can see I'm sort of weaving through and grabbing everything separately. But this sort of order in which I'm getting all the stuff is a pretty good one to do it in. Alright, now that we've got all that, we're going to go through the race. I will show you the first lap of the race, just so you can see the little boost that I'm taking. One thing that you can do is actually do a bit of running rather than gliding. That does go a little bit faster usually. That's one lap, and then the rest are pretty much the same. And again, we do have the Hunter egg as well. So just jump back into time trial mode and make your way across to Hunter. So he's just in this lighthouse here. You talk to him and then you start your minigame. You're going to fly as him and sort of follow this thing going through all the rings. Once you've done that, you'll get your egg and that'll be the speedway done. Now we're actually getting pretty close to beating the game. If you check your totals here, you'll see we've got most things. The only thing really left to do is to go into the final boss. You got 146 eggs, and all the gems that we got, we should be fine. So we haven't 100% of the game yet, and this sort of is the final boss, but it's sort of not. So you'll find this is like the fake final boss, and then the real final boss is elsewhere. So you can see there's lots of things floating in the sky. Eventually they're going to break down and fall to the ground. So if a cannon falls, for example, you just get on the cannon and hit the final boss with it. Just repeat that process, you'll eventually be done. There's lots of goodies that you can get. Now this is the ending to the game. You will get an egg for it, but it's not like the real ending. You do have to beat the boss like this to get the real ending. You can actually see the little hand come up, foreshadowing some more. When the credits come up, you can skip them if you want, and you'll reload back into this last hub world, but you'll find some things will be quite different. So for example, the Sparks level will be ready to go, and that's just to the left here. And just like with the other Sparks level, I won't show through the whole thing because they are pretty same-ish. Just be sure that you're using all your abilities and strafes and everything to get through. So eventually the Sparks level will be done and you'll come back out into this area. That gives you the ability to warp between worlds, but we won't really need that at this point unless you've missed some stuff earlier on. You'll also see money bags on the bridge. So essentially, you chase him down and get all your money back that you paid throughout the game, which is actually a really cool feature because it means you never ever actually lost the gems when you paid them to money bags. You do get them back. I do find it strange that he has all the yellow and pink gems, even though you paid him various different color gems, but there you go. Anyway, you just keep hitting him until you get lots and lots of gems back, and eventually you'll be able to hit him completely and grab yourself an egg as well. It's going to be one of the more satisfying bits of Spyro 3. Alright, so we got that egg there. Now we're actually going to head through to the super secret bonus round. This is sort of like the 100% ending of the game. So jump up to this, jump off the edge, and then we're going to go in here. So super bonus round is what this is called. And you'll basically need every single gem to beat the game like this. This is the best 117% ending that we're about to get. So this is sort of where the sorceress is storing all of her treasure. And we're going to go and raid this treasure supply. So there's lots going on in this level. You finish talking to her and you're going to see a few people running away with gems. The whole point of this level is to grab a whole bunch of gems. So we're not going to be grabbing really any more eggs here. You'll see that there are various doors in this level which are locked behind certain gem counts. So you have to hit those gem counts before you can go through the door. So just keep following pretty much the path that I'm following. You chase these guys down and you hit these switches. You're going to get a lot of gems. Now eventually you will get a flying ability through this section, so all those enemies that are flying around we will be able to kill and get gems from eventually. There's also a big bottleneck on a 16,000 door that we need to open, so that's what we're trying to do now. If we catch this guy that's running away, that should give us more than enough gems to hit that 16,000 threshold. There we go. Alright, so this is one of the first doors that open. And it's sort of like another minigame area. You go down into the submarine. And you got to take out these other subs here. Just do that. Again, the strategy here is have them on screen for long enough so that you get locked on. and then hit your fire button. It doesn't work unless all 3 dots are red. Once we come out of here with even more gems in hand, this next door opens. Now this door is probably the hardest part of the game. This is sort of the turbo snowboard course. So it's the same format that we did before where you have to use tricks to gain speed. But what we'll find is that it's really hard to get into first place. So essentially what you need to do is hold down the square button to always have turbo boost running. And then just try and do as many tricks as you can. If you let turbo boost go like at all, you probably won't be able to beat this race. You then also want to take the inside track, which is like really tricky. Especially since you like flying around in the air, it's pretty easy to fall off. I only barely beat this race, and that was just luck more than anything. You can see, even though I'm in second place here, it takes a really long time to catch up to first, just with how fast that first place racer is going. So pretty tricky, but with enough practice you do get to the end eventually. Now I think I'll show off a little strategy at the end here where I do flame the guy in first place. And that's just a little flame to get that extra bit of distance covered, because you can see how close it is before I'm not even able to beat him at all. But you make it through just barely into first. Once you've done that, you need to go back and get all the gems from the racetrack as well. So just clean those up. Right, now we've got the skateboarding section done, we're going to head back out and we can go through this door here. We're going to get the flying power up. So essentially what we're going to do is go around to these UFOs and beat them all. There's 7 in total. So just keep flying around until you got all those. With all 7 UFOs, we have all 5,000 gems in this area. And you can see in the atlas there, we've got pretty much everything we need. And that's the totals you can check against if you're wanting to get the maximum completion for this game. Speaking of completing the game, we're going to go and do the proper Sorceress battle. So this battle is sort of like the second version of the Sorceress fight. You basically just go around the flying saucer and chase her and do a bunch of shots. Eventually you'll get to the end, and that is the game complete. And there we go, that's the best ending, and that's all 117%. So you should have 150 eggs and then all 20,000 of those gems. That's going to be it for me, and if you enjoyed this video and found it useful, a subscription is always appreciated as it helps out a bunch. Thanks so much for watching.